Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon. Our guest of honor yang berbahagia Profesor Emeritus Dato' Insinyur Dr. Muhammad Azrail Kasim, the Vice Chancellor of Universiti Teknologi Mara, yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Roziah Muhammad Janor, Assistant Vice Chancellor Institute of Quality and Knowledge Advancement InQKA of Universiti Teknologi Mara, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Hafiz Muhammad Hanafiah, President of Tourism Educators Association of Malaysia, team, distinguished panelists yang berbahagia, Professor Dr. Haji Muhammad Salahuddin Muhammad Zahari, the Dean of the Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management of UiTM, yang berbahagia, Professor Dr. Nitya Nathan Ariragavan, the Executive Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences and Leisure Management from Tellus University, and Encik Azizul Jamaluddin, the Dean of School of Hospitality and Creative Arts, Management and Science University, MSU. Deputy Deans, Head of Program, Coordinators and Department Head, distinguished team members, lecturers and students of the Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management UiTM, last but not least, all participants of this event, both local and international. Welcome to the web discussion on delivering quality education despite COVID-19 challenges, lessons from top 3 hospitality and tourism management institutions in Malaysia. This web discussion is proudly organized by the Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, Universiti Teknologi Mara, and Institute of Quality and Knowledge Advancement InQKA of UiTM in partnership with Tourism Educators Association of Malaysia, team. On behalf of the organizing committee, we really appreciate the attendance of our guest of honor yang berbahagia, Professor Emeritus Dato' Insinyur Dr. Muhammad Azrail Kasim, the Vice Chancellor of Universiti Teknologi Mara. Despite his busy schedule, he makes time to be with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, to bless this event, let's recite Du'umul Kitab Al-Fatihah. Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alamin. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as COVID-19 spreading continues, it poses a severe threat and unprecedented challenge to our education system. UiTM, together with team, believe that we need to come together not only to address the immediate educational consequences of this crisis, but to build up the longer-term resilience of education system and minimize learning disruptions. This web discussion aims to provide a communication platform for hospitality and tourism educators to learn from the experience of Malaysia top 3 hospitality and tourism institutions in responding to this new norm. We have a very impressive lineup of speakers to share their best practices with the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now opening this web discussion with a welcoming remark and the officiating speech by Yang Berbahagia Professor Emeritus Dato' Insinyur Dr. Muhammad Azrail Kasim, the Vice Chancellor of Universiti Teknologi Mara.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon to everyone. Professor Roziah Muhammad Janor, Assistant Vice Chancellor, Institute of Quality Knowledge Advancement, InQKA UiTM, also the moderator. Respected panels, Professor Muhammad Salahuddin Muhammad Zahari, Dean Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management UiTM, Professor Dr. Nitya Nathan Ariragavan, Executive Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences and Leisure Management, Tellus University, Mr. Azizul Jamaluddin, Dean, School of Hospitality and Creative Arts, Management and Science University, Dato' Attendant Professors, Associate Professors, Senior Lecturers, Academic Administrators, ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah, today with the efforts of UiTM together with the Tourism Educators Association of Malaysia, or team, we're grateful to have 3 panels from 3 universities ranked in the top 50 in the 2020 edition of the QS World Universities Rankings by Subjects. Taylor's University, as you all know, had their best achievement so far as at the 16th position in hospitality and leisure management. MSU and UiTM meanwhile hit milestones as first-time entrants in the same subject, ranked 28th and 31st in the list. These achievements speak volume of how much we care about our reputation. The ranking evaluate our national, international academic reputation and how our students are valued by employers, and also how prepared the graduates are for the future professional life. While university rankings are essential and have been one of our accomplishments, we also care as much about our student learning experience as we do about our academic staff competitiveness in teaching and research competency. Of course, our latest positions in the QS rankings are indicating that we are doing the right things right, that the industry and academic peers recognize our students' competency and capability, but we cannot take things for granted in the upcoming years. In order to improve our ranking position or even to retain our spots, we have to deliver competitive programs that encourage critical thinking, communication, analytical, and managerial competence. I know that every one of us is concerned about our institution's rankings, but it seems that now it is more challenging than ever. COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent movement control order, or the MCO, imposed by the government have deeply impacted the tertiary education and tourism sectors in Malaysia. The COVID-19 pandemic is first and foremost a health crisis. Many countries have rightly decided to close schools, colleges, and universities. The severe short-term disruption is felt by all of us. Private colleges and universities in Malaysia will face financial pressure as enrollment of students is likely to be delayed or deferred. Teaching and learning as well as student assessments are moving online on an untested and unprecedented scale with a lot of trial and error and uncertainty for everyone, especially our students. Even if classes are moving online, challenges remain. For example, scientific research in classes that require a laboratory setting will be impacted. Hence, some flexibility is needed by the authorities at all levels, and alternative measures have to be in place to minimize disruptions in the higher education sector. Shifting to digital education is a clear step forward, but this has to be complemented with better online learning platforms and other forms of digital support. We also need to increase support for less privileged students in times like this. With that, I truly believe that this web discussion or sharing session come at the right time so that we can leave the session feeling optimistic on what lies ahead of us as educators. I'd like to thank our moderator and panel, as well as the organizing committee of our event today. Thank you very much for your presence. Allah protect all of us here in health and in life. Always be positive and do good deeds to one another, bringing together the best of air in contributing to the nation, contributing to nation building of the country. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thank you very much.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much Yang Berbahagia Profesor Emeritus Dato' Insinyur Dr. Muhammad Azrai Kasim, the Vice Chancellor of University Technology Mara, for the welcoming speech. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, without further ado, I would like to invite our distinguished moderators, Yang Berbahagia Profesor Dr. Roziah Muhammad Jano, Assistant Vice Chancellor, Institute of Quality and Knowledge Advancement, InQKA, University Technology Mara. I should now pass the baton to you, Prof. Let's get the ball rolling.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good afternoon to everybody here. Prof. Emeritus Insinyur Dr. Azrai Kasim, the Vice Chancellor of UiTM. And I was told that with us today, we have the president of the team, the co-organizer today, Hotel and Tourism, UiTM, to have three panelists with us today. But we'll be talking about we'll be discussing about this topic, delivering quality education despite COVID-19 challenges. What they will be sharing with us today are these lessons from each one of this institution. I'm not going to take but what I think Ismawi has already discussed or already advised all participants. If you have any questions, please use the pigeonhole and write up your questions, and later on we will try and cater as much as possible, as many questions coming from the participants. So I would like to just briefly, next slide please. So this I would like to thank Tourism Educators Association of Malaysia team for wanting to support us in terms of this organizing this. And next slide please. So this is the objective. These are the objective of the program. So for all we know, everybody is actually well aware that this COVID-19 is actually spreading. It poses a severe threat, unprecedented challenges to our education system. And why we are here today is actually to look into what have been done by these top 3 universities and what are the lessons that we can pick up from them, and perhaps some universities that are also here today can learn from this sharing session. Hopefully we can bring home or take away some important points that perhaps each and every one of us can make benefit from it. Okay, next please. Okay, so our first panel, I think the first panel will be Prof. Dr. Saleh, right? Is it going to be, who's going to be first panel? The way I look at it from this program, I think we have panel from UITM itself. Prof. Dr. Muhammad Salihuddin Muhammad Zahari, I would like to congratulate you for being reappointed as a dean of the school. Alhamdulillah. So
thank you, Prof. Thank you.
For all participants, you can have a detailed CV from Prof. Saleh. So he has been with us in UITM for the past more than 30 years, right, Prof? So more than 30 years.
Yes,
and definitely his experience actually will be very valuable to the universities and also the nation. I will not continue details on your CV. Actually, perhaps each and everyone can have a look at it. I think the secretariat is actually sharing the CV through the chat box. Okay, please, by all means, welcome to have a look at his CV. Okay, so he has gained experience from US, UK, New Zealand, and so on and so forth. Without further ado, Prof, I would like you to share with us your topic here, switching to e-learning due to COVID-19. UITM Open Distance Learning, we call it ODL, practice and experience. To you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof. Rosie. Yang berbeda Datuk BC, Prof. Rosie as moderator, my friend Prof. Nitya and Azizul, and all the participants either in the Google Meet and the Facebook Live. I've seen that the participant is also from the overseas, from Indonesia, Australia, things like that. I've looked through just now. Thank you very much for organizing this such I'm given to talk about the switching to learning due to COVID-19, UITM, or particularly the Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Practice and Experience. And everybody knows that with the unprecedented COVID-19, almost every facet of life changed, either on economic, social, education, social and education. On the education part, the COVID-19 pandemic has pushed school, higher institution, and training providers into the online to ensure that learning continues. And while technology can be facilitated, seamless a migration of face-to-face learning to a virtual platform. Accessibility to the quality and digital content, therefore crucial, especially during the movement of control orders. With that, together with the public and private university and colleges, the University Technology Mara moved all classes to open learning or ODL mode effective in April 13, and until the end of the semester for all its campuses nationwide. This is including our faculties, Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, Puncak Alam. And at the initial stage, we can say that a lot of academic staff as well as the student itself about confused on the ODL. Some people perceive that ODL is online distant learning versus the open distant learning. So some of argument on these two aspects arose during that time. However, when explaining things later on, then everybody understood that the open ODL is stand for an open and distant learning, whereby the online is part of it, right? So we can see that ODL having three advantages. Number one, you can do, next slide, please. Next. Please. Next. Okay. Online, the advantages is that ODL we can do at any time, any place, anywhere. Yeah. By looking the next slide, by looking the overall scenario, that I can categorize the three stages on the ODL implementation based on our experience. In the simple term, first one is called a planning stage. Yeah, the planning stage whereby the communicating on the ODL mechanism, whereby in this stage we inform the academic staff and student on how this teaching learning mechanism. Like I say previously, that a very hot discussion during this time, among the student and academic staff, the question of how, what, when, all our parents, everybody has something grumbling things like that, how to do, what to do, things like that. Or we can term this is a worrying period, very or anxiety period, things like that, right, during that time. And then number two, recognizing the ODL mechanism. Okay, like I say before, dispute also on the term itself, ODL, either open solidly online learning or open distant learning. At the end of the day, we resolve the problems, and at the end resolve the problem, they say open distant learning, right? Then in this stage also, we are recognizing the mechanism to be used for the ODL, whether to use WhatsApp, email, Island is learning management system in ITM, developed by ITM. Prof. Rosie, I think know about it better, right? YouTube, voice recorder, Telegram, Google Meet, video clip, WebEx, Cisco, and Zoom, right? And then how to tackle during this time also, how to tackle the perceptions among the lecturers itself. Lecturer perceive that need a lot of preparation and time consuming for ODL. Okay, then we come to the assessing ODL readiness. So we have a quick feasibility study was undertaken on the readiness among the lecturers and the student. And then we get feedbacks from all lecturers and the student as well. How looking at the readiness on the technology assessed, and also technology skill among the lecturers and also the student itself. Yeah. And then the fourth elements that modifying the program syllabuses, right? Amended on the assessment with no final exam is emphasized. Okay. And then only those with theoretical elements involved, whereby a solid practical classes will not be included. I think our next panel will talk about it later, right? And then the second stage, I term as an implementation stage, all right? This implementation stage with supervisory on ODL delivery mode and style. Okay, during this time in ITM and the faculty itself, the Deputy Dean of Affairs, all head of each courses identify the mode, the style used by the lecturers. Every student, regardless of their places of upbringing or wherever they are, must not be left out. This regulation is stipulated by UITM HEA. We and at the faculty have to abide with the rule. We don't want any one of the student left. If you have to send the material to them by mail or by post, by email, by WhatsApp, we have to do that. We don't want anybody left out with the educational system. Think that, right? Okay. And the next one is the governing the ODL. Okay, again, Deputy Dean of Academic Affairs during this COVID-19 is a very busy person. All right, they have to do, she or he has to do a lot of things, working with the whole head department, and they play the important role of monitoring the processes. Right, report is prepared for every week, and based on our faculty, out of 140 courses that we have, 100 or 105 is on ODL, and 80% students involved in the first week of ODL. Alhamdulillah, the period of anxiety is down. The lecturer is getting used into the ODL. The only thing is that now, later I will talk about the student level of satisfaction. Right? Then the next one is the appraising the ODL processes. Okay. Again, like I say, head of program and deputy dean of academic in ITM, working hand in hand in assessing issues encountering with regards to the ODL. Okay, modification and improvement are made based on issue arises. Virtual meeting is frequently held. At least in our faculty, we have 4 times a week meeting. Even in ITM, I think a lot, 1,000, 100, 1,000 meeting being held during this stage, right? The last stage I could term as the outcome stage, the assessing. Through that, in line with ITM's policy, faculty also have done a survey on the lecturer and student feedback. All feedback from lecturer and student are digested by management of the faculty, and improvement are made from time to time. Yeah, and then during this time, we can slightly receive a much complaint from the academic staff, because and then exploring the ODL usage and acceptance. This is an important element as well. need to be done. Okay, based on the report from ITM as a whole, from HEA or academic affair of ITM, almost 65% of the 35% of students ready for ODL. Okay, and more than 50% are positive on ODL experience. However, 25% of the students still struggle with ODL. Yeah, especially on the remote area, Sarawak and Sabah, things like that, right? Okay, probably Taylor University and the MSU not dealing so much on a P40 student. Like TM, we have around over our students under the P40, right? Okay, the next one is appraising the ODL expectation and satisfaction. Again, we have to do some sort, like we did a survey on lecturer or academic staff expectation. Okay, improve on the lecturer commented that we need to improve on the assessment mechanism. How to assess student through ODL. Sometimes during this time also, lecturer are too anxious, given a lot of assignment to the student to share some of the experience from the student. Some the remote area or like I say in Kedah, probably they have to getting into the roof of the house to get the line. They have to be in paddy field. In the term Malay, they call it dangau. They have to be in dangau in the paddy field to get the line things. All right. And then student expectation. They said that they need more exposure on ODL mechanism. Same thing to lecturer. Lecturer also need more training on the ADL. Student saying that they need more conducive environment of study, because some students from Sabah and Sarawak in our faculty as well and other faculty in the ITM, they don't want to going back to their places because they said that line is very low, connectivity is very low, and then students are facing the internet issue, the connectivity, not enough data. Even they've given like 1 gig data per day to use. Based on our experience from the survey, 1 hour to 2 hour classes, students use around 1.2, 1.5 gigabit byte of data, things like that, right? Think about if we have 4 hours. Yeah. However, the student still rating, they're not really satisfied with the ODL, particularly on the issue of low connectivity of internet. Okay, and then how many minutes have you given, Prof. Rosie?
I think it's ample time, because this time around we will allow each participant, each presenters to present maybe more than 30 minutes. Please go ahead. We will notify you. Yes, we will notify you 5 minutes before it ends.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. And then based on that, the number 4 is implementing the ODL training. UITM on the whole organized webinar, encourage academic staff to join, and Alhamdulillah, when we see this kind of trend now during the COVID, I hope that this will be done after the COVID. at least to the international or local student, right? And faculty, we are the faculty, hotel and tourism management, take the proactive action by inviting those who are well versed on ODL to share the experiences. And think every university done it. This is very good phenomena. We have to accept the fact. Academic or educational system in the world right now. Okay, I can list some of the ODL challenges facing by the university, as well as particularly on the faculty itself. Okay, on the lecturer perspective, we need to overcome the technology problem. The oldies like me probably need more exposure. We need more exposure on the online or technology, things like that. Luckily, sometimes we use the young one at least to help us. This is some sort of online engagement that we did with the highlight just now. The previous slide, please. Yeah. Okay. With the help of and the faculty, with the help of the my deputy dean of industry linkages, we managed to organize quite a number of webinar and also discussion, right? Either from the student, either from the academic perspective, either from the industry perspective, and as well as the international arena, right? And we also engage the industry, the online engagement. We are dealing with Petronas, Tourism Malaysia, organizing some sort like a seminar, things like that, and to share the knowledge, to share the experience with the student. And then let me go on the ODL challenge, back on the ODL challenges. On lecturer perspective, we need to overcome the technology problems. Again, like I say, at first, everybody dispute during that time, so all dean in the ITM to share with the MSU and tailors, all the dean until 1 or 2 o'clock answering all the questions from our members, our faculty members, what to do. Then number 2, some of the lecturer not being skillful enough to produce an online resources. But alhamdulillah, at the end, everybody now lecturer quiet now because they used to the online now. However, student only, because student, like I say, the problem is data, and then where they come from, things like that. And then online teaching takes more than face-to-face teaching, take more time. But we need to emphasize on that. And the next one is limited mechanism on the effective instructional explanation, right? Sciences and hard to do online mechanism, okay? Like faculty hotel and tourism management is very hard to show how to cut on a practical aspect, how to cut the vegetable, how to cut the chicken, how to do a serving thing, that how to serve people, things that we need to do some sort of create a mechanism through YouTube whatsoever to show the student. That's the reason why on the practical aspect we are asking the Ministry of Education to give a permission that so that we can call the part 1 and part 2 student to come back to learn face-to-face in the faculty instead of 5 years. Although the MKN or Ministry of Education say that final year student can come back to the faculty. But on our faculty, we emphasize on the part one because they need to have a solid foundation on the skill before entering into the industry. Okay, and then the next one, lacks of interactive face-to-face discussion, feedbacks, and support. However, student during online platform, they be able to talk. All right, they are quite brave to talk as compared to the face-to-face learning process. Things like that. Right. The next one is on the student perspective. Again, like I said just before, a non-conducive learning environment in the house. That's the reason why a student especially from Sarawak and Sabah, they don't want to back to their kampung, whatever, things like that, because they say line is very poor. Based on my experience interview with the student, some of them need to move from their kampung to be at least 60 kilometers to attend the class. I respect this kind of student in terms of acquiring knowledge, things like that, right? And then this on the student part, they say that lecturers sometimes too engrossed, okay, of giving so many assignments and tasks to the student. Sometimes students say that they don't have time to rest. Yeah, that's why we advise in that manner. We advise the lecturer, please follow or having the class during the stipulated period in the timetable. Don't take other lecturers' time. Things like that, right? This is from the student. And then the most importantly and the most crucial part, they said the problem is connectivity. Yeah, internet connectivity. Sometimes students say that they have to be in, out, in, out, in, out. Things like that, right? Okay. And then students also say that they still lack ODL skill, and the lecturer need to improve style of teaching, of online teaching. And even though they can raise the question during that session, but then they also say that they don't they still lack of ODL skill or online skill. All right, then lecturer engrossingly try to finish these syllabuses, things like that. Everything is crammed together. Then students say they grasp. They can't grab the knowledge with the so many classes per day. Things like that. Sometimes lecturer change the class at night. Things like that, right? In order to finish. But then this is rectified. Then we advise the lecturer not to engross with the assignment, things like that. But we have to understand that distinguishing is sometimes not permitted, right? And then synchronization should be held in moderation manner, right? That's a commented student comment, things like that. Yeah, and the last one is a cost of internet data. They said even the government allow given like 1 gig per day, but still insufficient. So that also try to help students. Some of the lecturers are very generous of giving what we call it aid to the student in terms of monetary money, things like that, in order to help the student of getting the data to be on the ODL or open learning session. With that, Prof. Rosie, I think enough from me from the first round, and I hope to return with the second panelist. Thank you very much for everybody's attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. That's a very comprehensive, and thank you for sharing practice or practices that have been conducted here in UITM. I think a majority of the faculty are also handling that as what you have explained. So even though Deputy Vice Chancellor and the top management actually empowered every dean to handle the ODL thing, but the way you explain it's very detailed, and I hope participants can get can gain benefits out of your discussion. So thank you, Prof. And now let's go to the second panel. We are lucky to have Professor Dr. Nityanathan from Davis University, Executive Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences and Leisure Management. So, Prof, your CV also can be, I mean, they can actually have a look at your CV in detail. So we're sharing it through the link there. But just let me mention a bit to be fair to you, because you have supplied us with this short CV, but very impressive. You have over 27 years of academic experience and holds a doctorate degree from France. And you are now into this, you are the one who initiated the ASEAN Tourism Research Network, known as ATRA. Congratulations on that. Perhaps that one also can lead this research in terms of tourism, right? And your area of research includes higher education models and system portal, system development and innovation, and also food and culture. So with that, I would like you to share your thoughts on the topic that is given to us here, industrial attachment. This is to continue what Prof. Salihuddin mentioned just now, industrial attachment and coronavirus COVID-19, transitional arrangements of hospitality and tourism. To you, Prof.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Ruzia. And good afternoon to everyone, especially our guest of honor, yang berbahagia, Professor Emeritus Dato' Insinyur Dr. Muhammad Azrai Kasim, Vice Chancellor of UITM. Given your busy schedule, I truly applaud you that you are actually attending this session. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to the President of team, Dr. Hafiz, for inviting me, Dr. Ismawi as well, and of course my good friend Professor Salihuddin. Yeah, it's good to hear to your lecture just now, or your seminar.
Yeah,
and Encik Azizul from MSU. Yeah, and I would like to thank everyone for being here. I'm given a topic where it's rather narrow in the scope, which is related to industrial attachment and what are the alternative arrangement for this. Can I have the slide on? I think it's very clear. Yeah, but yeah. So the transitional arrangement for hospitality and tourism student, and the scope of discussion is on industrial attachment. And perhaps before going into these topics, I'll just share a little bit more about the university and the school and the faculty before I jump into the topic. So can I go to the next slide, please? Yeah, this is the flow of my presentation. There are 5 key areas, but I'll try to finish it as quickly as I can. The next slide. Yeah, or introduction on Taylor's University. If you can just turn to the next slide. Yeah, so we are 51 years old today. We were established in 1969 as a Taylor's College. And over time, we grew into a university. Today we are placed at the Lakeside campus. There's one similarity between Taylor's University and UITM. I'm not sure how many people knows. The similarity is your former Vice Chancellor, Professor Emeritus Dr. Hassan Said was our Vice Chancellor, was the Vice Chancellor of Taylor's before he moved to UITM. So I guess in many ways we share some similarities in the things we do. Professor Hassan has always been an icon of the higher education, and we all have a lot of respect for his leadership. Yeah, and we have moved to Taylor's Lakeside campus since 2010. Just to give you an idea, our size is about 12,000 students, and as an overall university, we have about 30% international students. But the faculty has more students which are international, and hence the impact because of COVID-19 is greater on the faculty as well. So I can move to the next slide. Recent QS ranking, World University ranking announcement has put us higher in the ranking, thanks to many thanks to the support that we receive from all the different partners, and also the work that we have done internally for Taylor's. We are now ranked 379 in the world, and we are also ranked #1 in private university in Malaysia and as well as Southeast Asia. Of course, for the school, we are ranked #16 in the world. And on employer reputation, we also rank for 2019. I think we were ranked #4 in the world for the employability rate, which means that how fast your graduates are snapped by the industry. Okay, we can move to the next slide, please. Yeah. So yeah, this is what I was speaking about. That we were recognized as the 4th best university in the world and Asia's best for graduate employment rate. For the indicators in 2019. Next slide, please. And this is specifically for hospitality and tourism. We are ranked 6 star by Disruptive, an outstanding rating. And we are also ranked #16 in the world by QS World University ranking. And of course, the university is ranked tier 5 for Setara. It is just to give an introduction to the university in case many of you wouldn't really know Taylor's University. The next slide, please. This is some accreditations and memberships that school specifically has. So the School of Culinary Arts, for instance, has got the recognition of quality education through the World Chef Association. Hospitality and Tourism School, we have got the 3rd Qual certification by UNWTO. And of course, international membership with the ICE, the International Center for Excellence for Tourism and Hospitality in Australia, based in Australia, and as well as PATA and UNWTO, very specifically for the school. Can we just go on to the next slide? Just to give you a picture of what I do, this is just a small introduction on the school. If I can have the next slide, please. Another slide, please. I think you are okay. So there's something. One slide is missing. It's okay. So just to give you a picture on the faculty, we have about 3,800 to 4,000 students, and we have about five schools and 1 institute. So I don't just manage hospitality, tourism, and food. I also manage School of Education, School of Media and Communication, as well as the School of Liberal Arts and Sciences. So there are basically six schools with about 4,000 students. And the mix of the student is about 55% local student and 45% are international students. So the challenge, like I said just now, the challenge that was posed by COVID, because we have so many international students, is greater for us And like what Professor Salehuddin mentioned just now, in the beginning, first month, I think the dean and the head of schools became extremely busy managing a lot of issues that comes from student and staff. Yeah. To go to the topic today on the impact of coronavirus or COVID-19, I guess it goes without saying, everybody today, if you read the newspaper, everybody reads about the economy and the impact of this virus on the economy. And you can see that based on what I've written there, the impact is far greater than the 2009 Asian financial crisis, and as well as the 1930s Great Depression. So this is probably the worst economic crisis that anybody have actually gone through. So that is how bad it is, the impact on economy. You can see that there's a deep, dive in GDP. Consumer demand has gone down. Purchasing power has gone down because people have lost their job. The statistic changes every day from 4%, 5%, 10%. Probably after a couple of months, we will probably have a better picture of how the unemployment rate is all about. But to summarize, I think this is probably the worst impact that humankind has faced economically, and as well as surely socially as well. And topping it all, you also have another geopolitics problem between China and the US that doesn't make things better for any one of us. And I'm sure you also know that economically the oil prices has gone down, and Malaysia being an oil producing country, it has also affected Malaysia quite greatly. So all in all, we are actually in a bad shape. However, I guess there are many measures taken. I think the government has also put in a lot of measures to actually try to soften the impact. On point number 5, you can just draw your attention. Many economists actually say that a V-shaped recovery is almost unlikely. And if you read a couple of literatures and all that, you can find that there are many predictions that says that we may only recover by 2022 or 2023. All depends on how the treatment for this virus will pan out, and as well as how vaccine will be found. Hopefully the vaccine will be found early next year, and perhaps it will soften the impact a little bit. And just to draw your attention to higher education, I think higher education, in my observation, probably is the second worst hit sector after tourism and hospitality. I think the first one to be hit by this virus was hospitality and tourism. And I'm sure hospitality and tourism industry will probably be also the last one to recover, because the impact is so direct onto this industry due to the nature of this virus and the impact on social behaviors and all that. Yeah. And higher education is another one that's not being spared, because we run universities with thousands of students. So the mere fact that social distancing is a rule clearly put many of us into a situation of trying to manage crowds and all this. And being a private university, I think we are badly affected because of borders are closed. For some time, domestic travel also been limited. The ministry has actually stopped activities for the education sector. All this put together, I think we can see what Professor Salehuddin mentioned just now about how institutions need to be resilient, need to be so fast in moving into an alternative way of arrangement for their students. So I guess online education that we have to deliver now is one area that we are looking at, and as well as all other alternative arrangement that we can do to make sure that students still continue to study and we try to graduate them on time. Yeah. So higher education has switched to face-to-face learning. Unbelievably, online learning has switched to online learning, and unbelievably online learning, which has so much of resistance before, has been accepted so easily by the academic fraternity, by the lecturers and all that, suddenly switching into online, and as well as students who had to then adjust themselves and study online as well. It's not easy to study online and do collaborative learning at the same time and all. I guess these are all the challenges that we face. And the other interesting observation about this virus is about as well. It is also about the impact on the work from home, or we call it the work from home revolution that has been caused by this pandemic. It has pushed the global work into a massive remote working experiment. Irrespective of readiness or desire, this pandemic has shifted the work from home arrangement from a concept to a necessity today. Many of you are working from home. I think now we are all, into this online platform from home. I'm surely from home. Many of you probably are also from home, and it slowly has become a way of life, or what is today very famously mentioned as a new normal. It was also found by KPMG research that the level of productivity for working from home is if not, it is as good as or maybe better than even working on site. If we have good capacity and good capability on leveraging the communication platform. So these are some new trends that we discover because of this pandemic. And what is really very important is for us to ask ourselves, how do we then turn around this current situation? So my topic is very much on the alternative way of managing industrial training. So perhaps we can just go to the next slide. We call this pandemic pedagogy. This is a word actually coined by one of my head of school from the School of Education. Pandemic pedagogy means this is a pedagogy that we suddenly come up with because of this pandemic. Lots of things change. You can see how InQKA today has become so agile. They are becoming very agile in terms of the governance and the way we manage online learning. We assess our learning. We do alternative assessments and all that. So this pandemic pedagogy has also shifted the way industrial training, traditionally how it is done, to what it will be done, or it has been done currently because of this COVID-19. So I just share some experience of ours. We are quite lucky because the internship is actually next semester. So during the pandemic, we are safe from managing the issue of having student, to go to hotels or restaurants or tourism establishment. But then because of the COVID-19 MCO announcement and all that has stopped. So we were quite kind of lucky that we didn't go through that. In fact, in March when MCO was announced, our student who went for internship towards the end of last year actually completed the internship just before the MCO announcement. So what we have done is actually to plan for what's going to happen in August and how do we actually work around it. Of course, I have suggested a couple of points here. The obvious one is to move the industrial training semester to the following semester. I guess that's the most easiest thing to do. I don't think we need to think so much about that. So if we think that we can move around or shift around the semesters because of this crisis, I guess that's one thing that we can actually do. Move internship to another semester and bring forward the semester that's supposed to be after the internship. Or the second one is to replace the industrial training or other relevant to other relevant alternatives depending on the field of the program to meet the learning outcomes. So in this case, we can actually look at what other options do we have to, at the same time, making sure that the student still learn about the industry, is still coached, mentored, and supervised by industry professionals. However, the environment may be different. So we have that option to look at. I think InQKA has actually come up with a solid guideline for this, which is quite broad and flexible and manageable if we do it right. Yeah. So that could be how we replaced it, and of course industrial-based project-based problem-based project, topical studies or research project which are directly related to industry could be employed in these circumstances. If we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So there are a couple of ways to actually look at industrial training. So the one that I've mentioned is about if not able to do internship or industrial training, but the student can actually take up alternative projects, projects that can be provided by employers. So because of industry linkages and the strength with the industry and all that, this is an area that we can surely explore, getting the employers who have worked with us to actually provide real-world projects, real-world problem to actually work with the employer and as well as to assist them to solve the problem as well. So that's one area we can look at. Couple of firms are very keen on consultancy-based work, where the lecturer and the student with the respective industry can actually work on this project as well. It's common in tourism setup. Of course, we also have, as I said, media and communication. So media and communication companies are also very keen. Event management companies are also very keen on working on this approach of consultancy-based work with the industry, and the industry will provide their people and their input, and the lecturer will also guide with the student. So we want to make sure that at the end of the day, the breadth and depth of what industry exposure is always there and maintained, and we try as much as we can to maintain the learning outcomes. Yeah, and project offered by the school with industry input. So that's another way to do it. There was one case where a student has actually mentioned that there are two industry players are actually involved in supervising her. So the question is, should we allow or we shouldn't allow? To me, I think this is a better opportunity for a student to actually have two different companies to actually work with the student and provide the kind of input that the student, so it enriches the student's experience as well. So I guess the word is trying to be flexible, and as well as trying to be creative in the way we manage this situation. Yeah, can we move to the next one, please? The next slide. So these are some examples of how projects can be supervised by the employers. We work with MASIOS. MASIOS is the Association for Meeting, Incentive, Convention and Exhibition, to provide students with projects where students are given specific project. They can work individually or they can work in a smaller group, okay, to solve the real world problem that we are giving them. STEP is actually a program that we have developed to actually have all these top hotel brands to associate with our students. It's actually a talent development program that we have infused into our students so that they get snapped by the industry fast as they graduate. So the STEP partners, in this case, the partners from this different hotels and all that, are also participating. So what is important also is to see that we get good support from the industry at this time. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is consultancy-based work with the respective industries. So the work can be, we've given some examples here. It can be on online content analysis, data collection, looking at target market analysis, customer satisfaction, domestic and international travel and all that. So these are some of the areas that students can do. I've got some projects from some of the hotels who actually want to study about, for instance, what are the issues and problems that's faced by the F&B outlets. So different F&B outlets and all that. So they want students to actually work on this project. So these are examples of what we can try to do for the student. Can we just move on? And another area is looking at how a school can actually come up with the projects. We find supervisors for the student, and then we get industry to actually hop onto the project. So what we do is we line up maybe 10, 20 cases that is directly relevant to the problem that the industry is facing. We line that topics up, we get the student to actually take the topics, and then we get a supervisor to supervise them and work with the industry partner. So this way we can actually get them. So ultimately, this is an adjustment that has to be made. We have no choice but to do it, because I'm sure many of you who are here know what kind of impact that has been created by this pandemic to the hotel and tourism industry. Every other day, 1 year ago, I say every other day there's a hotel being built. Today, I have to say every other day there's a hotel being closed down because of this pandemic. So that's the irony of what's happening to this industry. And I guess we need to still continue providing what best we can for our students, so that they can continue learning and continue their learning with the industry and all that. Can we go to the next slide? I think I'm almost done. Yeah. So yeah, there's just some examples that we do. I think Professor Salehuddin has also mentioned just now, and some initiative to complement these strategies on getting industry on board is to get the industry to come in to do professional series or professional talk for our students. I do webinars where we invite the speakers from the industry, and then after that we try to link them up straight directly with the student for their internships, and also webinars by our alumni, because we got a very broad alumni base. So we managed to also get alumni to actually come in to help at this point in time. So the next slide, I guess, is just some examples of what has been done. So we try to get as many contacts as we can, because we are quite close to our partner in France. So we actually work with some chefs from a couple of restaurants around the world to actually guide and work with the student on different projects and all that. So this is one example. The next one, please. Yeah, this is another one, another chef who's actually working with a group of students. They're all online today. Yeah. Next one, please. So this is on hospitality and tourism. Yeah, more, you can see Halim Marikan, who's the acting president of MA, Henley Chew, who's a seasoned hotelier, Kenneth Fong, who is from Masios, who's also an event management guy. There are many of them who are here, and we get them to actually come in for webinars or some talks, and then we try to hook them up with our students so that our students can continue their industrial training and internship. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is another one where our lecturers and student and industry actually organize webinars for the students and also for the public. So some key consideration, just to wrap up my session. Some of the key considerations are as follows. So I think it's very important that we create and sustain a strong industrial partnership and support. I think there are many ways that we are doing it. Right? We get in this industrial training partners. We invite adjunct professors, adjunct academics to come in from the industry to be part of the adjunct faculty group and all that. There are many ways that we can actually maintain this relationship with the industry. Alternative arrangements must be aligned with the course and the program learning outcome. Yeah, so we try to make sure that we still do what we are required to do in terms of the learning outcomes and the program outcomes and all that. clear and transparent communication with the students on the alternative assessment, grading scheme. I think it's very important, and we are all learning our lesson, like what was mentioned earlier, about how difficult it is during this time, because we are meeting online, and communication becomes the key anchor for many things that we are doing. And this is very important as well to have our students understand exactly what they are into, this alternative element of assessments and all that. Provide adequate resources to support the delivery and of the alternative assessments. And the new normal, as we always say, opens doors to new possibilities. So these are some of the new possibilities. The learning from me is, I think we need to all be very resilient in facing this this pandemic. We will need to be very creative, very agile in the way we do things and all that. And communication becomes very important with the students and among staff and among colleagues and all that. I guess these are some of my thoughts. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Nathan. So thank you so much for sharing. I think you have shared with us quite interesting, you're giving us ideas, your ideas, what that perhaps quite a number of us here can also benefit from that. Interesting to see how strong is your industrial linkage. So perhaps this is what that made you number one now. Okay, right. Okay, but whatever it is, we'll take note. I just would like to remind you, Prof. Nathan, and also Prof. Saleh, if you don't mind switching or looking at the pigeonhole time, and there are a few questions that are already posted there. If you can prepare, because the moment we looked into this, after panel number 3, we will start asking questions, and I will pick the one with highest vote. All right, so now let's go on to the third and last panelist. So Encik Azizul.
Yes, saya.
Okay, okay. Encik Azizul Jamaluddin. So let me introduce you now. So Encik Azizul is the Dean's School of Hospitality and Creative Arts Management and Science University. And the way I look at it, when I read your CV, UITM alumni, thank you for that. And of course, you have been the Dean for the past 1 year, right?
Yes.
Right. Good, but you have quite a number of distinctive recognition received here, and I would like to highlight the fact that your school has really achieved your school achievement center of excellence by APIM. Perhaps later you can also explain a bit about this professional. I assume that's a professional accreditation from a professional body, right?
Yes.
Right. But basically, I would like you to then talk about the topic that has given to you, keeping the doors of learning open, teaching practical classes throughout COVID-19. Perhaps you can, the floor is yours. Please, Encik Azizul.
Thank you, Prof. Right, Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon to the moderator yang bahagia Prof. Dr. Razia Ahmad Jano, all panels yang bahagia Profesor Dr. Muhammad Salahuddin Mazari, atau lebih mesra dikenali dengan Pak Leh. Apa khabar Pak Leh? Yang bahagia Prof. Dr. Nitya Naden, hello Prof, and all participants for today's session. Firstly, I'm honored to be invited as a panel for this discussion representing Management and Science University. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Azizul Jamaluddin, and I'm currently holding a post of Dean of School of Hospitality and Creative Arts. And like Prof said, I'm a UITM graduate. UITM masih di hatiku. And I see many of my lecturers here. Wah, apa khabar semua? Thank you very much for having me today. Just go to the slide, please. A bit about MSU, Management and Science University. We started at 39 years ago from college until university college until full-fledged university. And as you know, Alhamdulillah, we are the top 28 in the world for QS ranking by subjects in hospitality and leisure management, and top 2 in Malaysia. The QS ranking 2021, we are top 47% of the world's best university, top 200 university in Asia, and maintained as the top 10 university in Malaysia. We are also ranked as top 10 high impact university in TSE, and also like Prof said, we are accredited as the Center of Excellence for APIM, Asia Pacific Institute in event management. Okay, and with me here all are the top gunners in education. Thank you for having me today. And like I said, my school is a bit unique as its name. We have two big departments in our school, which are Department of Hospitality and Department of Creative Arts. In our school right now, we offer 26 programs from hospitality, culinary, patisserie arts, event management, right up to fashion design, music, spa, and beauty management, from undergraduate to postgraduate. Right, back to the topic that we will discuss on keeping the doors of learning open, especially for practical classes throughout COVID-19, and MCO, then CMCO. Right, in MSU, we are very concerned about the quality education that we provide to the students. A few weeks before the government announced that there will be a movement control order, MCO, we had already held a series of meetings with the top management and the faculty members on what are our strategies to conduct classes for our students. The first thing came up from our mind is how we want to conduct the practical classes, such as cooking, sewing, music, spa, beauty classes. And alhamdulillah, with a strong commitment and a support by our Vice Chancellor and our President, we have made a solid decision. For me, this decision is outside of the box, and we must be creative in conducting classes. Although it is creative, we are really concerned on the achievement of CLO, PLO in every courses. We plan delivery based on the CLO, and it is very, very important. Just to share with you on what have MSU done to ensure the quality education is in place. The first one is to ensure the students are in the right mindset and ready with the practical assessment, preparation during MCO. We brief our students on our way forward in conducting classes, not only students, but also all the lecturers, because like Prof. Nityanandan said, that communication is important, right? And students, for our students, students are required to produce portfolios, right? Okay, the portfolio includes all the research done by the students on the weekly topic. For example, cooking classes, right? Okay, every week the lecturers will share some videos, okay, and lectures demonstration on the topic. And I know it's hard for the chef to cook, you know, when they cannot come over to the campus. Okay, but with the strong team that I have, okay, alhamdulillah, or the team of the chef, they are very willing to do some video shot and also demonstration in the house, okay, and give the videos to the students. And students have to learn the skills, the steps, and also tips for that particular topic. And in addition, the students have to do some other research to enhance their understanding. They can Google it, right, and put it in the portfolio, such as the way of cook, different method, different tips and whatnot, right? And some of students are very, very creative. When I look on the portfolio, they shoot their videos of cooking as well. So alhamdulillah, so these portfolios are unique. It serves as the evidence of how students learn, and also as a preparation for them to enter the classes once the campus opens. And this is what we call flipped classroom, Prof, right? So later on I will discuss on what the portfolio is used in the classes, okay, when our campus are open, right? And basically in MSU we are gradually opens now. Right now I'm here in the office, right? And inshallah, in July session, MSU will gradually opens, okay, for the students to come in, right? And we allow for some of the students based on the KPT's advice, right? Like first year semester, first year students, right? And the final year students and the practical subjects. And next is in MSU we have a unique coding system. In MSU, we have the split coding system, between theory and also practical courses. That makes us unique, right? And this allows us to offer them separately. As in this situation, it brings benefit to the students as they can take the theory courses first during the MCO and resume taking practical courses when MSc opens. And during MCO, we offered all the theory courses and do the preparation of practical courses as well. And starting on July to 2020 session, MSU is gradually often, like I said before, and we offer practical courses for the eligible students based on campus advice. There are 4 classes, right, of students that will be allowed to enter the campus, right? And to save times during this session or in the next semester, lecturers are no longer doing live demonstration in the kitchen, but the students will be given the recorded demonstration by the lecturers before the class started. Even now, our staff in SSCA are having a video session and also recording session, okay, and as a preparation for the next semester. And here comes the importance of the portfolio that I have mentioned before. When the students return to the campus, they can go to the kitchen and straight doing their cooking. Based on the topics given and by referring to their portfolio, and also the lecturers demonstration videos. And the benefit of this is now lecturers can monitor the students and be a facilitator in the class. No more longer lecturing. That is the unique of this MCO lah. Okay. Next is creative delivery. Okay. The next slide is, I think, the next slide. Okay, some of the practical courses in our school can be delivered in creative ways. For example, to conduct a physical event during MCO is very, very tough. And mass gathering is not allowed, right? And a lot of SOPs to be covered, right? But to develop creative teaching, I look forward to the model of COI, Community of Inquiry by Garrison, Anderson and Archer 2001, which includes teaching presence, social presence, and also cognitive presence. And my team had resolved this and came with one good idea in which the students now required to do a virtual event. During MCO, many events such as seminars were conducted, like Potley said, and also Prof. Nitinaden also said, and students now can learn on the new ways to organize virtual events. They learn on how to market the event through online, find participants, registration, technicality, organizing team, and many more. And these are all counted as skills of event management. And feedbacks that we got from the students are very, very positive, Prof. They enjoy organizing virtual event and learn new skill set. Same goes to other programs in our school as well, such as music courses. Majority of our students have their own music instruments at home and also software that we advise them to use. The session is being divided into theory and also tutorial. The tutorial session is 1-by-1 basis, and the students have to submit their projects through online. And during MCO, many interesting projects that they have conducted, like competitions, lyrics competitions, raya song, and whatnot, many more. And one more uniqueness for our school is that we have fashion programs. For fashion, the portfolio is very, very vital as they have to refer to it for their production letter. And for information, our students of fashion design have contributed their energy and also expertise to the MSc Protective Clothing and Protect project, a project of producing PPE for our frontliners. They have produced 1,800 sets of PPE and distributed to several hospitals in Klang Valley. And this project also will be continued for another batch. This is the initiative from MSU and also our team to have the frontliners and also as student activities during MCO. We also take into consideration of social distancing and many more. And this project also part of the students' assessment as a practical assessment, and some of the students doing from home and some in the campus, right? And also the staff as well, including me myself, okay? Jahit PPE, right? So this is a new skill that I've learned during MCO. Okay, next is industry collaborations and engagement. This is important. We will also work together with industry player to invite them to give insight and also teaching our students online. Okay, and many sessions were being held virtually. And thank you to all industry players who are always there to support us in MSU. And these sessions are really important as this is another creative way of teaching. And let me put ourselves in students' shoes, right? We will be bored if the lecturing online day by day in long week, right? And this session helped to boost up the students' morale and also learning in other perspective. And MSU are really active in this initiative, and it also provides an engagement platform with the industry. We also have sharing session with all the industry partners as adjunct professors around the world, such as Japan, Turkey, and many more. And also our alumni as well, alumni who are the entrepreneurs, okay, and also working in the industry to give insight to the students. And during this pandemic, I think we must think creatively and ensure that we deliver quality education for the students. And alhamdulillah, the feedback from students are very, very positive. And we can ensure they are graduate on time, GOT. And I'm very sure that the industry also will be benefited from this, as employability is also one of our concerns. They will find the shifted-minded graduates as they acquire new skill sets, which can be the assets of the company. And also, yeah, during this MCO, the students learn many things, especially video editing, video producing, and many more. So this is one of the new skill set that the students have. And delivering quality education, ensuring GOT, and working hand in hand with industry and providing employability opportunity is very, very important. In this opportunity, I would like to say thank you very much for UITM, InQKA, right, and also team as well. Dr. Hafiz, thank you very much. And also to the President and also Vice Chancellor for full support to us during this pandemic. Alhamdulillah, we still have jobs and receive full salary, alhamdulillah. Thank you also to all my team in SACA for believing in me and come up with many good ideas to support learning during MCO. And I think, Prof, that's all from me. And I hope that this sharing may also give some insight on how to run the practical subjects during COVID-19. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Azizul. That's very impressive. I mean, the way I look at it, the way you present it so confidently, right? So perhaps, alhamdulillah. So later on, we will engage all three of you in a question and answer. But the way I look at it, you're actually using also the linkage with industry, right? To support our teaching, learning, and this ODL. All right. So now we are early in terms of time, but it's okay. I hope we can gather, all three of you can gather now to look into this question and answer. But before that, I would like to invite all those participants, if you still have questions, to write it down in this pigeonhole, please do so. But at this point of time, I will request Secretariat to put up the pigeonhole. Can you show? Yes. So here we have all questions that have already been posted. Perhaps we can go through the most voted questions, and then we will address. So any one of you can ask, I can answer, can respond. Okay, because this is actually all in one go, because Prof. Salihuddin is talking about the planning of how we handle ODL, and Prof. Nathan mentioned about how they go into the alternative handling this COVID-19, and Encik Azizul were talked about practical aspect of this program, right? But there's one question here. We have already received 4 votes from the participants. Thank you for those who actually written down this. It says how to assess students during ODL, particularly for practical classes. Perhaps Azizul, you can start first, or later then followed by Prof. Salihuddin maybe? Please.
Yeah. Kan. Okay, thank you for the question from Nabihan. Saya kenal ni Nabihan ni. Right. Okay. for MSU, and like I said before, we have split coding system, which theory and also practical, and also the assessment weightage for the theory and so practical is different, right? Basically, all the practical classes will be offered during the MSU campus opens later on, right? But in MSCO, we have prepared the students to develop their own portfolio, and I think the assessment of portfolio can be the what we call that the preparation, okay, for the students for the practical classes upcoming semester.
I see. All right. What about Prof. Saleh? Prof. Saleh, how
Okay, similar to MSU. In fact, all the practical classes will be held in July. So, although the perkeliling from the KPT saying that only a final year student will be called to enter the campus, but then I have to stand my decision with the HEA or the academic affair of ITM, whereby we argue that the student part 1 student from STPM, we're dealing with STPM, we're dealing with the matric student. They need a very strong foundation in part 1 in terms of practical aspect. So therefore, we have prepared the paperwork yesterday and presented in the Majlis of UITM, and the paper have been submitted to MKN. I don't know, because as far as I know, that no need to go to MKN, but then yesterday our VC said that the application that need to go through to MKN. So they have submitted yesterday. We're waiting for that, and we have the alternative as well. So therefore, but we will manage, or we will make sure that when the student enroll into the practical classes, social distancing will be applied. That's our promise. Thank you.
Okay, so perhaps tailors also don't have this problem at the moment, right, Prof. Nathan? Because
yes. I think we all take the same approach. We need to first appreciate the fact that we are in an unprecedented situation today, and whether we like or we don't like, learning for some reason will be compromised because they are doing practical through online. That we appreciate that. However, in our we have quite a thoroughly written contingency plans where we make sure that students' learning outcome are not compromised. If assuming there are 4 outcomes or 3 outcomes that need to be met, and if we can only achieve 2, then the other 1 or 2 will have to be postponed to the other semester, and we have actually put down a QA process to actually have this outcome reflected in the following semester, and we communicate this with our student as well. For some cases where we can do it online, then we will actually have that component to be completed. So these adjustments are made, but what is most important is that we need to be we need to be very transparent about this process. We need to be transparent, and then we need to clearly articulate the changes that has taken place, and then put this down in our contingency plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Very, very comprehensive. So all three of you have given the answer to this. So hopefully, Nabihan, you are satisfied with the answer. But don't worry, all these sessions are recorded, so we can revisit the session later on, right? So let's look at the highest word there. Some researchers are predicting that COVID-19 will change our universities, the way we operate. How will COVID-19 change our hospitality and leisure schools in the long run? Perhaps Prof. Nathan, just now you did mention about this, right? Perhaps we can start it first. Later, we'll get a panel.
Honestly, it's a very good question. we have started to think about this thanks to COVID-19. I think without COVID-19, we wouldn't have even thought of this. What is the new normal in higher education, especially when it got to do with hospitality and tourism? Because there will be changes for sure. We know that the macro trends today have emerged. You know, the new trends is coming up. Social distancing was never something that we even bother because we are Asian. We have our culture where we always want to meet people, greet people, and all that. So it's completely different from culturally. It's completely different from what we are, and social norms will slowly change. Hopefully, someone find a vaccine very soon, and then we can all go back to a normal life. However, if that doesn't happen, then for some time we will need to get used to this new normal. And for higher education, I've had a couple of discussions on this. I think we will have to be innovative in what we do for the future. We cannot be an institution that is always impacted by crisis. I think crisis will come and go. Even for this pandemic, there are predictions to say that it may come back. Nobody knows. You know? And there was also some prediction to say that by 2023, somewhere in the middle of the year, there will be another pandemic coming. So I guess if it's not an economic crisis, then it's a health and safety crisis or any crisis that can come. And how should universities be agile in a disruptive world? I think that's the biggest question that we need to answer ourselves. How can we be nimble? How can we have a model? I think most important, it boils down to the question of structure and a business model. How can we have a model that can actually face this kind of uncertainties whenever it comes, and we still can operate on a usual circumstances, even though this kind of crises are around us. So it's $1 million question. I don't think there's a simple answer to this. However, we all know that because of COVID, everybody is getting used to using online delivery. As I said just now, many people opposed to this when we wanted to introduce 10 years ago. Today, out of nowhere, just like that, you can see the shift has happened where it becomes a necessity. Students also begin to learn that there are certain courses or modules or subjects that they can actually learn online rather than going to the campus. So there is already an emergence of a blended learning that's coming in. Perhaps this will then drill down to a more hybrid model. I will stop there.
Okay, right. I agree with you. Perhaps Zizol, you want to add something to that?
Okay, I think one for sure is we must graduate ourselves from being phobia about COVID-19. Yes, I think this pandemic is very, very dangerous, but I think we must think creatively and put extra effort to ensure the students gain quality education. And I strongly believe that today's challenges may turn into opportunities. Not many graduates are having the same opportunities that the current students had. And for example, during this pandemic, like I said before, students now learn another skill sets, such as IT, video producing, video editing, research, and many more. And I think the blended learning, ODL, and 21st century learning are here to stay in all institutions. It will provide opportunity for other students as well to experience the new normal. And the industry engagement also is needed to ensure the employability of our students. And we are also focusing in molding our students to be a job creator instead of job seeker. And many opportunity given in MSU to our students to start their own business. And to date, alone in our school, we have produced many entrepreneurs. And I think UiTM also have many and also tellers as well.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So anything, Polly, to add to that?
Yeah, okay. I want to respond with that as
Yes,
well.
please.
The education and industry like a microorganism, not micro. We subjected to alteration. So therefore, with the IR 4.0, we have to embrace with the online. Okay, no matter what, because world is changing. So ODL or online or open distance learning will become a norm sooner or later. However, the psychomotor skill in terms of practical aspect need to be maintained with the injecting of certain phenomena or certain mechanism to enhance the student skill for the practical training. So therefore, I think that the theoretical aspect, even in US as well now, in Harvard University, they are gearing toward the online ODL mechanism. However, in terms of practical, we have to at least adapt ourselves with the old and with some alteration made into it. Yeah, no matter what, we have to embrace with the changes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So we'll take note of that. Okay. But perhaps the way I look at it, I'm not giving an quite answer to this, but the way I look at it when you discuss about the fact that you have to delay the practical session, that will actually request a change from a university point of view, right? Perhaps the timetable will have to go away, right? It could have been a very flexible kind of thing. I just stopped there. I don't want to put myself in a danger zone. Perhaps
exactly.
after you have mentioned, after hearing what you have presented earlier on. Let's go on to the next question. Secretary, let me see. I think the next one we have covered that. The one that in terms of connectivity, right? Prof. Saleh, you have discussed about that earlier on. And the next one, 3. What? Good afternoon. Currently, most of the physical classes. This is also already being taken by both Cik Azizul, right? Or do you want to deliberate on that, Azizul or Prof. Nathan, on this practical aspect? I think we have answered this.
Prof, I think I interested of one question raised by the participant.
Which
question
one?
is that I think the last one we heard something about a question.
Last one, right? Okay.
Okay, question addressed to me, mention my name.
Yes.
It said that question to Prof. Salidin. We heard the Taylor on their plan handling internship.
Right.
What about ITM? What is contingency plan?
I hope I didn't put you in trouble.
No.
Go ahead, Prof.
Okay.
You are in a position to answer this. You are the dean.
Yes. Like I said, on internship we have 2 modes, right? In ITM, one is called work-based learning, and one is called practical or internships. So some of the hotel now some sort like reluctance of taking the student to do a practical training due to the COVID-19, and their operation is not really doing well. So therefore, our alternative is that luckily we have our own premise to do that in terms of practical training. We have 3 hotels, UITM Penang, UITM Dungun, UITM Puncak Alam, as well as UITM Shah Alam. So we have discussed this morning so that WBL student, we will place the student in our premise, all right, in Puncak Alam. In fact, we have taken some of the student already, a few of them, and
our own hotel, right?
The main premise for our student. So we think that rather than we lost something, at least student can gain at least little bit in terms of the hotel in the industry perspective. Like, I can say is that although our hotel is not the sophisticated in terms of the what we call it, the facility that we have, but then we do have the fundamental elements of the hotel industry. So therefore, we will place our student in our a property or premise. Okay, but I think Faculty of Hotel and Tourism UITM, we have around 1,700 students across the system. So therefore, a lot of students to be placed in the hotel. But we also connection with certain hotels, although a small hotel, 3-star, things like that. Although, in fact, we try to deal with them, and some of them, alhamdulillah, they agree of taking our students to be in the property, right? Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Next, Secretariat, can you any preference to the panel, or I can just read it? Let me read. We are aware about the problem facing by students on ODL. What is the major contingency plan to university take to face this issue? I think we have covered this, right? Next question, Hisham. I think if you were not here earlier, you can tune in to our recorded session later on. Let me read another one. For MSU and tailors, this is specifically for Azizul and Prof. Nathan. MSU and tailors, when you all change the class and teaching delivery, did course outcome also have to change? Your CLO, you're talking about QA requirement, I think. Okay, please share. How did you do it?
Oh, yeah, sorry, maybe I'll just quickly take this, Prof. As I've said just now, we have done a contingency plan and also alternative delivery and assessments. So we carefully look into the learning outcomes and make sure that they are met. Like I said, we are very transparent. We couldn't meet particular learning outcome because, just take an example, that the practical requirement is very heavy. Then we will actually move this LO to the following semester, and we make sure that the student will gain this learning outcome. So this process must be very transparent, and it has to be communicated to students. So there is no perfect solution to this problem. And just imagine we had so little time to actually convert into from what we do conventionally into a completely different mode. So there are such problems that we face, and we try to actually quickly resolve into what we could.
I think what the question, what the participants actually meant is, do you drop or add to the original CLO? Assuming that originally we have 5 course learning outcome, right? So the statement itself. So now with this COVID thingy, when you change the way we deliver or the way we assess, do you change the course learning outcome specifically? But you mentioned you're bringing it to the following semester, right?
Yeah, which means it's changed slightly for that semester.
Okay. So what about MSU?
Right, Prof. Okay, for MSU, we did not change any course learning outcomes. Okay, but like I said before, we have split coding system. For example, in one subject, they have theory and practical. So we offer the theory first, right? And the practical, we move forward to another semester. And the course learning outcomes for practical will be assessed during the other semester. So, and also the course learning outcome for theory, for example, like tests, and many more, that can be assessed through MCO. There's no problem.
Okay, okay. Oh, that's what you meant by coding system.
Yes.
Originally, when I look at the when you talk about coding system, in my mind we are talking about, oh, there must be some programming.
No, because especially in our school, we have the subjects with theory and practical, right? So, for example, like 1 hour for theory and another 6 hours for practical. So we split that. Code, all right, and then the CLO also followed for the code lah.
Okay, so you make that adjustment for
yes.
Perhaps for UITM. I think Professor Saleh would have also abide to that. What we did is actually the faculty and also the deans will bring it up to Senate and we endorsed it because we are SWAP, we are self-accredited university, so that's what we do, right, Prof? So they brought it to Senate and endorsed it there and continue. Whatever is it, the changes are actually legit. Right. Okay, thank you. Next, can we have another one? We still from the last time. Let's look at the next one. Anything? That one. Question for Prof. Nathan and Encik Azizul. How tailors and MSU handle those students who have been terminated from their internship? Do you have any cases of this, Azizul?
Yeah, like I said, we've not placed the student yet. But however, if this situation arises, I guess every university has got their mechanism to manage. It depends on what termination means here actually. Is it termination because of what you call COVID pandemic and the business has to close? Then we will have to find alternative for the student. If it's termination because of behavioral issues and all that, then we have processes to follow where the hearing will go on and all that.
Yeah, I think MSc also, right?
Yes, Prof. Yes, Prof. We have a few cases of termination from the internship because of companies closed down, and many more, right? And we also plan our strategy on how to place these students for internship. And many strategies have been discussed, and Alhamdulillah, some of the students we placed to our alumni entrepreneurs companies, right? And Alhamdulillah, they accepted it, right? And also some of the industry that we work together before, we can do the like Prof said, Prof Nityanandan said about the project, right? The industrial based project. So that is how we overcome this situation.
Okay, Prof Saleh, you look like you want to share something.
Okay, just like the advised, the hotel normally advise student in line with the order from the KPT as well as MKN to pull the student from the industry. So therefore, that we abide with the order, then we call student to back to their kampong, whatever the village, things like that, right? And then later on, the hotel normally say that if the situation is looking good, they will call back the student. And in fact, that now some of our students also be back to the industry. The only things that from the Terengganu Island, Pulau Perhentian, we have around 28 students stuck there.
Oh, okay.
Stuck there for around almost 1 month. But then they're doing the what call it community services to the village, the villages there, and with the assistance of hotel. And now, Alhamdulillah, they're back to their kampong, and we have to apply for another organization to be placed them in that particular area. And now the problem is quite easing now, and most of the some of the hotel, they said we here to hold back first, then later on they will call back. However, some of the organization normally paying the allowances to the student to cut of their financial problems.
Okay.
Right? Thank you.
All right, thank you. The way I look at it, all three of you, what you have shared to these questions, actually, it goes the way university are solving this, actually personalized, right? It's go case by case, depending on who which students who actually being affected, and we address the problem case by case. Very good. So perhaps we have.
I can add. Some of the organization, they, some layoff been done by the organization. So in order to replace that, they invite a student from university, at least they can cover the costs.
That's the strategy, right? So let's pay perhaps. Okay, Secretariat, maybe one last question, or last two questions, or perhaps. Somebody mentioned, okay, Nabihan again, alternative assessment. Oh, this one I've read just now, right? Planning lesson. The panelists agree that by implementing alternative assessment in planning the lesson can help teaching and learning. Lesson plan, of course. Please, panel should answer it. Implement alternative assessment. Maybe Prof. Nathan, you mentioned about alternative assessment.
Yeah, yes, Prof. I'm not sure what the question is all about. So if you implement alternative assessment in your planning of the lesson, it can help teaching and learning. Yes, I agree. I think one of the learning that we take back from this pandemic is, I think every university must have a contingency plan. It's very important. A complete comprehensive contingency plan that we can actually fall on to when there is a crisis. And I guess this question fits in very well with this. And without a contingency plan, it can be very difficult to actually organize delivery and also alternative assessments.
Yeah, perhaps we have to actually be ready. Like, as you said, we should not be. I mean, we agree that curriculum is a plan, but perhaps in this time of in this kind of situation, it's not like miscutting in stone, right? So that's what you meant. That's so. Azizul?
I think, yes, I do agree with the alternative assessment that can help teaching and learning. For example, like I love that Odl said about work-based learning. And I know in the industry, we know they face a lot of challenges, and some entities are being closed and some are surviving. And I think it is time for us to work together as a team and getting back stronger than before. And I know some of my friends outside there are now losing jobs, but I think in few more years, our industry will booming again. And work-based learning is another approach that can bring reciprocal benefits in MSU as well. In our school, we have done this and plan to enhance more collaboration in the future. And I think this one of the alternative assessment that can be planned together.
Okay. I think amendment on the alternative assessment need to be done. In fact, we are done it already in terms of the during the COVID, because like I say, some of the theoretical subject we cannot impose on the exam. So majority of assessment is doing by the what we call it assignment, participation of the class, a quiz, a short quiz, things like that. So in ITM we call it SIMC, or system of management system, and the amendment has been made on assessment from the exam into the non-exam perspective. We have to do that. We have to do that for a while, and then get back into the old system after the COVID is lifted.
Right, right, Prof. So our Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic and International mentioned that we need to have 4 assessment, right? 4 types, maximum 4 types of assessment. Right, very good. So perhaps I would like to. This is I mentioned for, last questions, but I would like to address this one last. It's on MQA. Perhaps read that one. Still Abdul Aziz. Does this question of the quality of the program been accredited by MQA? How hotel schools working with MQA to ensure the quality of each program in the current situation? I open this last question to all 3 of you to highlight how do you address this from QA point of view. Take note, I'm the one in charge in UITM, but you are open to say anything. Sila, maybe Pokleh, you want to start first?
MQA, we have our ex-dean, Professor Dr. Don, in the MQA, so that I'll make sure that he always said that the quality of the program need to be tightened in terms of during the COVID-19. So we hope that with our people there, so the quality of education, hospitality education in Malaysia could be maintained despite the COVID-19. I think Dr. Prof. Rosie know better about it. You can answer, Prof. Rosie.
It's just to be fair for us to allow you to speak up. All right. So again, I agree. So communication there, right? So having Prof. Don there is actually on communication. You are in constant communication with MQA.
Yeah.
And anything?
Yes, I think, like I said in my presentation just now, MQA as a regulatory body has actually played very well in helping universities to actually cope with this pandemic. If you actually take a look at the number of guidelines that has come, guidelines and circulars that's come out of MQA to manage the situation and to guide the universities to actually follow some of these alternative deliveries, alternative assessments, and all that. And I just want to take cognizance of what is also happening around the world. I'm sure many of you know that in the UK they have come up with a non-detrimental rule, to make sure that students are not will not suffer as a result of this pandemic. And because of that, adjustments to delivery and assessments has been made, and the document has been made public, and the students are clearly guided, the lecturers and the students are clearly guided to this. I guess we are also doing the same in our own way with all these different guidelines and all that. And that helps us to actually find the right grounding and footing in terms of quality assurance of our program. So that's what I would say.
All right, Prof. Thank you so much. Okay, Azizo, the last 1 minute, I leave it to you. Anything on this?
Yeah, I do agree with Prof. Tiradin that MQA has done their best to assist us, especially the private institution with all the mechanism, right? And I think this is a positive problem in COVID-19, I must say, because once our doors are open and ready to receive, for example, like international arrivals, I think international students also are eager to travel back in Malaysia. And this is one way of the benefit from COVID-19, I think.
Sure. Okay, right. Okay. So we have arrived to the end point. It's 4:30, sharp 4:30. Secretariat, So I would like to say thank you to all panelists, Azizul, Prof. Nathan, Prof. Salihuddin. Thank you for being with us. So, well, perhaps I would like to share my slide list, my last slide. Perhaps these are the few takeaways that we can share with the participants. I would also like to mention here, thank you for those. Ada tak? Do you have my slide? Okay, see, thank you from all the way to from Philippines, from Florida, and also I think from Indonesia. So thank you for being with us, and also those coming from other universities, but from the same school. So these are a few takeaways that perhaps I can put it together here. Number one, switching to ODL for hotel and tourism program was tough. It's basically, that's what Prof mentioned earlier, right? Prof Salihuddin mentioned, but with commitment and from both staff and students, support from good leadership and management. I think all universities have good leadership and management, and also those coming from ministry and MQA. Thank you very much. So we manage it well, alhamdulillah. Number two, I would say from this discussion, support from government and industries are welcome, especially to steer the recovery plan, like Prof. Nathan mentioned. So, and I've seen the fact that you have already very well established industry linkages with all the linkages, right? So, recovery plan in bringing up the travel industry worldwide, hence to support future graduate employability. So, and number three, this pandemic is providing an opportunity, like what Encik Azizul mentioned, this is an opportunity for potential development in the area of digitalization. So of course, now Traveloka and all these things are quiet because no one's actually traveling. But perhaps after we improve, things will get much better. And the last one, we need a right mindset in embracing challenges, and we have to continue being creative and innovative by the day, like what all the three panels have mentioned. And I put this topic from the panel's presentation, and I would like to address one last one. Just take note, this is very current from University of Cambridge. These two universities, University of Cambridge and also Johns Hopkins, they are the one who actually handling data on this COVID-19. They just finished doing this research. I just dig this up this morning, and they have this population-wide use of face mask keeps the coronavirus reproduction number under 0. So they have modeled this. Perhaps we go on this campaign. My face mask protects you, and your face mask protects me. That's I would like to end this session. Thank you very much, Prof. All profs and Azizul, and I hand it over back to Ismail.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Roziah Muhammad Janor, the Assistant Vice Chancellor of Institute of Quality and Knowledge Advancement, InQKA University Technology Mara, for the remarkable job. Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you again to Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Haji Muhammad Salihuddin Zahari, the Dean of the Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management UiTM. Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Nityanathan Ariragavan, Executive Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences and Leisure Management, Teles University, and my ex-students, Encik Azizul Jamaluddin, alright, the Dean, jadi dah Dean sekarang, the Dean of this School of Hospitality and Creative Arts, Management and Science University, MSU. Thank you so much for such an fruitful sessions. I'm very attracted to Prof. Roziah last word on being creative and innovative. I've seen my lecturers have done many kind of things, you know, although some of them are not that IT savvy, but they've done a lot of works to ensure that quality teaching and delivery to the students. Yeah, and a big applaud to all academic fraternity for the hard work in delivering the quality educations. Right, on behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to extend our appreciation to all parties involved in making sure this event a success. Special thanks to InQKA, to Prof, PHP, to Dean, Prof. Oleh, and also for team and each of the individual here. Alright, so see you again in our next web discussion. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.